we're up, and guys, this is kind of amazing. This is Montel, involved with new technology. I'm doing my first Google Plus Hangout, and this is going to be so cool. I think we're going to have so much fun by the time we're done, and this is for a really good reason why we're getting together today to talk about, I think, one of the most amazing events that I've had the pleasure of being involved with now for about 4 years. That event is watching this incredible foundation start from the seed, germinate into a tree as big as the one that goes up to grab the giants. I don't know. And it's topped by Ashley Cumlin. And why? Well, she started something called MS Run the US. It was founded back in 2009. It was inspired by Ashley's mom, Jill, who has MS. And Ashley decided, you know, she was just sitting around one day going, I think I'll run across the country and raise money for MS. You know, I've asked you 100 times, Ashley, how this started. I'm going to ask you again when we get started here. Where did the flash come from? But she is one of only 16 women in the history of the world to run from coast to coast. And I can't say how proud I am of the fact that you did this. You accomplished this for your mom, for MS. You raised money. And then you decided to turn this into now what will be an annual event by initiating this incredible relay, which is going to start, starts what, in another week? Where do we start? It starts, I'm sorry, April 15th, and it begins in Los Angeles, and it's going to go all the way through until September 6th, where it will culminate in New York City, and we're going to have a big rally, and I'm going to try my best to be out along the way. Ashley, I'm going to be there with you, so I want to introduce, everybody's going to participate in today's chat because all of us are in some way, shape, or form, or all of us have MS in common. MS is I'm not going to say afflicts us because I don't think that's the way we ought to think about it. I've looked at MS now finally as a real blessing because it's given me an opportunity to really understand who I am. But we have to deal with it. And there are a lot of people who ask me questions all the time. How do I do this? How do I do that? And I thought maybe it's a good opportunity for us to talk about MS, how we all live with it, relate to it, and how we want to support Ashley in her run across the country. So let me tell you who's joining us today. Aaron, why don't you say hello to everybody real quick and tell us who you are and why you're here. Aaron, did I just lose Aaron?
Well, my name is Aaron.
Can you talk, Aaron? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
I'm sorry. Well, Aaron is 18 years old, and Aaron's amazing story is one that a lot of people, I think, don't know. That, you know, this disease is a disease that, you know, for many years we only thought afflicted one segment of the population, and no one really ever thought that children would be diagnosed with the disease. And then over the course of the last 10 years, we've seen more and more diagnoses get younger and younger and younger. And Aaron, you were diagnosed with MS when you were 15 years old, right?
Yes.
And, you know, I want to come back to you in a second. I just want to make sure I introduce everybody and we can get everybody to kind of chime in and help. I want you to talk a little bit about what it's been like as a teenager having to explain to your friends what's going on. And you'll talk about that in a minute. Also, Nick, you're here. Nick Barbieri.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Why don't you just talk for a second?
Yeah, Nick Barbieri. I'm 41. I got diagnosed about a year and a half ago. So learning, I'm a newbie at this, but getting adjusted and keeping positive.
There you go. It's great. And that's how we all should be. Andrea Veltri, you are from Georgia, right? Talk to us for a second.
I am Andrea Veltri, 47 years old. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And I was diagnosed with MS about 8 years ago. Have 6 children, so I have a very busy household. Also work full-time, so keeping the stress level down is definitely my #1 priority. And I am an extreme proponent of trying to keep a positive attitude and being a mentor to newly diagnosed MS patients as well.
And Stephanie Abrams, you're here. Stephanie, why don't you tell us your connection? We're not hearing you. I don't think your microphone's on, darling. So click. I got to help her. Up in the upper right-hand corner.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
There you go.
Can you hear me now? Yes, fixed.
So I was diagnosed in July. It'll be 2 years. It was a few days before my 27th birthday. And I've also really looked at it as a blessing in disguise. I've learned so much more about myself now. I take such better care of myself now, better than I ever did before I was diagnosed. And I've really used my experience. I started a blog right after I was first diagnosed, and I've connected with so many people who also are newly diagnosed with MS. And I actually met Ashley through starting my blog. She reached out to me. That's how we connected.
Great, and I hear Bill, you just popped on, right? Bill Sinek, how you doing, Bill? Can you hear me? I think Bill's in. You got to click the little up in the upper right-hand corner. I think there's a microphone, Bill. He doesn't. I don't think you're hearing me. Okay, well, Ashley.
Hi.
We got a group together, and we're all going to have a nice long conversation about, you know, what we go through, and maybe see if we can share some information with those who are going to be tuning in. But why don't you talk a little bit about what inspired you, darling, to run? I'm going to tell you right now, running across the United States is the last thing on my mind. You know, I would have never thought of that. I might have taken a motorcycle across the United States. I don't know. You might have convinced me to do a Segway. Heck no. I don't do it like that. Run across the United States. Why?
I've been a lifelong runner, so I was just running as any runner can relate to. When you are out on a run or you're exercising, kind of your mind starts to wander. And when I was 4 years ago now, so I was 25, and I was on a run, and I thought about traveling, which I love to travel, running and seeing America in a different way. And then ultimately the idea took full circle when I thought about doing it for my mom and for multiple sclerosis. And when I thought about doing it for the cause, that's when I was extremely motivated and passionate about the idea. So I actually quit my job right then and there, moved home, and started building the nonprofit. And that's when I reached out to you. So that's how you and I met, and kind of told you about my idea. And lo and behold, you thought it was a crazy but good one. And you've been helping ever since, like you said, it was just an idea.
Well, you know what? I'm really excited about this year because we're trying to pick in cities, and we'll pick some dates. I'm going to show up along the way. I know you have a van that's going to be following the runners across the country, and so I think maybe what we should do is let's plan a couple of little chats like this along the way, so we can do a couple more of our Google Hangouts and get some people to come in and just, you know, make sure that they know that they can donate by coming up on msruntheus.com. Go up on msruntheus.com and figure out how you can donate and get involved. But along the way, I think we'll stop and have some chats like this. So, you know, I know a lot of you guys came. You wanted to ask me some questions about what has been going on in my life. Let me just give you a real quick 1 minute summation of the last, say, 5 years, 6 years of my life. You know, I was diagnosed with MS back now in 1999, 2000. For the next 6.5 years, I went through the roller coaster that a lot of us go through. You know, for the first 2 years, I was on a spiral into the abyss, and I was able to yank myself up out of that abyss, really started working hard at paying attention to the important things, taking my medication, exercising, trying to pay a little bit of attention to my diet, but really not paying close attention. Back in 2007, I literally had an episode that almost took me down. I kept it from the public, didn't talk about it a lot, but had a lot of difficulties in my mobility, a lot of difficulties in my depression, a lot of difficulties just dealing with the illness. Though publicly and as much as I could, I put on the best face possible. You know, I was literally starting to worry as to whether or not my disease was taking that turn that we all feel is inevitable. I shocked myself because I started really applying the tools that I had been preaching to people for so long. That was, I really paid attention to my diet. I changed it completely. I changed the way I exercised completely. I changed the way I worked on my spiritual and my emotional health completely. It wasn't enough. I got involved in an experimental program that I will have to say that is still an experimental program that has done an amazing job at turning me back around. Now, the question is going to be, Montel, what's this experimental program and how can I be involved? It's not at a point that we do not have FDA approval, and we don't have the ability to expand the number of participants in the test. But I'm telling you, I'm working with everything I have to see if I can speed up the process of getting FDA approval and getting this protocol into the general public so that everyone can enjoy what's been happening in my life. Now, this is just an augmentative treatment. I will tell you that this is about 25% of what's really been impacting my life. The rest has been the voracious way in which I approach my diet now and the voracious way in which I approach my physical fitness and ability. I'm getting ready to, right this minute, enter into a new area of physical therapy, physiatry, because I have some things going on inside of my body because of MS, weakness in one area. I'm overpowering it with muscles in another area that are pulling my pelvic area out of alignment, and I'm going to have to get some work done and learn some new techniques to see if I can mitigate that. So that's what's happened to me in a nutshell. I will tell you that I am enjoying the best life I could possibly have with MS right this minute, and it is going to continue that way because I'm working at it every day, and that's what we have to convince everyone out there. I run into people all the time and say, Montel, I wish I was doing what you do. I heard you get snowboarding. Why can't I do that? It's not because I'm so special. It's only because, believe me, I've already put 2.5 hours into my health today. Got up this morning, work with a physical therapist who's a trainer to help me just move my lower body. I have some real difficulty with my left hip flexor, and unless I work it every day, it will lock up on me by the end of the day. So I've already put 2 hours in the gym, and that's not vanity hours. That's 2 hours of working with physical therapy to get my hip flexor moving. Then I do 20 minutes of walking on a treadmill, and then I do a little bit of walking on an elliptical just to keep myself moving. I've already started a diet change today, and in a sense that I'm liquefying, just so you know, I liquefy about 70% of what I consume every day. And then this evening, I will do at least a good hour of meditation this evening. That is part of my emotional healing. So that's what I'm working on. Somebody help me. Because Montel won his mouth the entire time. I know, Aaron, you said, how do I get to ask questions? Do you have questions, or why don't you help us? Huh? We lost Aaron? Oh, no. Stephanie?
Yes?
Okay, we lost Aaron for a second. I'm going to come to you. How old are you, can I ask you?
How old am I? I'm 28.
28. And you were diagnosed 3 years ago?
No, I was diagnosed almost 2.
Almost 2. Did you know symptoms before you went to see a doctor? Did you feel any symptoms?
Yes, I had symptoms, but I had absolutely no idea what MS was. I had heard of it before, but I didn't know what any symptoms were of MS. I thought that I had a pinched nerve when I went to the doctor. So it was a complete shock to me when they sent me for an MRI and got the first results back that they thought it was MS. I had absolutely no idea what it was.
But you said the first things out of your mouth was, but Montel, this is a blessing to me because I've learned so much about myself. I want people who are tuning in and listening to people who are thriving, who are surviving, who are dealing and coping with their everyday issues. I want them to understand this isn't easy, but how do you do it? So how are you doing it, Stephanie?
I think it's just keeping a positive attitude, as cliche as that sounds. It's about waking up every single day, and knowing that I'm lucky to have another day and filling it with as many positive things in my life as possible and taking care of myself. So before I was diagnosed, I didn't go to the gym. I didn't care what I ate. I would eat whatever I wanted to eat. I would, go out and drink and not care what I was, putting in my body. And now I'm cognizant of everything that I put in my body. I go to the gym, 2 to 4 times a week, which for me is a huge change. And I'm very aware of everything that's going on in my life. I like to write more. I do things that are going to take care of myself instead of doing things that could potentially be self-destructive, because I know that everything I do each day plays into how I'm going to feel and how my life is going to be a year from now or 5 years from now or 20 years from now.
There you go. Erin, you're back, right?
Yeah.
Good. Look, we're just sharing with people. I know you had questions for me, but I'll ask one of you. As a teenager, I mean, I know you got this diagnosis. Somebody said you have these 2 letters, and then you look it up, and it paints a picture that I don't know if I was 16 years old, I want to know. But then I look at you, I see that face. You've been smiling since you've been here. You clearly are dealing with your symptoms. When did you know there was something going on and you had to talk to the doctor or had to talk to your parents and say, Mom, something's off here?
So I was really big athlete. I played soccer my entire life, and I was on varsity soccer, varsity cross country, varsity track, and I was involved in sports. And one day while I was playing sports, I had double vision, and I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what to do. And so as an athlete, you a lot of times just get little pains here and there, and you brush them off because that's just what you do. But this was something that kept occurring every time I started any kind of physical activity. And so I went to the doctor, and within less than 24 hours, I was in the hospital. So.
Okay, but now you clearly know this is what's happening. How are you dealing with it every day, and what do you do to battle back against MS? Can you hear me?
It's very difficult. A lot of people talk about how they do more exercise in case I had to decrease the amount of exercise that I did, because when I was an athlete, I was out in the heat every day, hours and hours. So I've had to alternate my lifestyle in that way. And living in Florida, it's very hot outside, and we all know that the heat is one of our biggest enemies. But in addition to that, I've also changed my diet. I personally am on a free diet. I've done a little bit of research, and I've been on gluten-free diet over a year now, and it seems to be helping. And it's very difficult because a lot of people don't know what MS is, especially younger students. And so when they ask me, like, oh, Erin, why can't you come to the beach, or why can't you go with us to this theme park, it is hard to explain it to them because it's something that isn't very prevalent, and how it affects me, and how going out to the beach or being in the heat can really just ultimately be terrible for my health.
Now, Erin, I will tell you a couple things that might just be helpful when it comes to the whole heat issue. I was extremely heat sensitive when I was first diagnosed for the first 6 years, up until about 2006, 2007, until I started this other protocol. But what I did during that period of time is I gravitated to the cold. This is very interesting. I never participated in any snow sports, any winter sports, my entire life. When I got diagnosed with MS, I started snowboarding. And I know this sounds crazy. I could go up to a mountain and exercise all day long because my body temperature never got that high. So I would have fun. That's where I kind of woke up. So you might, and I know that's an expensive proposition. But if you know some friends or have some relatives who live in the northern part of the country during the summer months, maybe you could get out of Florida and you could have a couple better, go hang out at Aunt Betty's house in the summertime while the temperatures go through the roof. I'm back. I know that sounds crazy, but it's helped me. Nick, you know, what's so great is that one of the things I think that we're showing anybody who's tuning in right now is how MS is different for every single person who has it. How has it impacted you, and how are you fighting this fight?
Like everybody else has talked so far, staying positive, learning what your body can do now. You know, every day I get up and I, stay positive, and exercise, like everybody's talked about, is important. Just doing what you can. Like you were just talking about snowboarding. I used to be a high school snowboard coach for a race team. So the winter months I love. I want to get a place in like Alaska for the summer because the heat here in this part of California, it's in the winter it's in the 30s, and in the summer it's 110. So that can kill us. So yeah, just keeping positive and learning how everybody else is dealing with things too. The therapy I do a certain day a week, so I can hopefully have a good weekend, and just staying strong and being positive.
Absolutely, Andrea. Now, again, we have, as I look at everybody's ages, and I'm not going to give any ages out, but I clearly see that I am the oldest one of the bunch. So I can pick on me. I'm oldest, but we see the range. I mean, 18, 28, 40-something, 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 but in a case like you, Andrea, you're a mom, right?
Yeah.
You have kids that, expect mom to do extra things, and you've now been dealing with this for 6 years. How has this impacted you, and how are you coping with it every day?
Well, I tell you, like I said, I do have 6 children, and I was diagnosed 8 years ago. And ironically, it was while my youngest son was playing travel baseball. And in Atlanta, it gets very hot in the summer. And we were traveling all over the southeast, and 90, 100-degree heat. And I didn't know. I had no idea where these symptoms were coming from. I started with numbness in my limbs and kind of just chalked it off to, maybe it's just, the sun or the heat is over affecting me. Like Aaron, I had a situation, or Stephanie, I had a situation where I had a problem with my neck. Went to the doctor, they sent me for an MRI, and sure enough, by the way, you have a problem with one of your cervical discs, but you have MS. And, they saw the lesions. And it just, at that time, I was shocked. I had all 6 kids still at home. And I can remember that day, clear as day, I just sat at my desk and I cried and I said, why? I have these 6 kids that I have to raise. Why me? And it took me maybe 15 minutes. My mom happened to be in town. We talked for a few minutes and I said, okay, let's attack this, let's fight, and I'm going to do whatever I have to do. And from that day forward, I really have never complained about having it again. It's what I have, and I've tried to keep it from seriously affecting my life. I've been fortunate to only have 1 or 2 more serious exacerbations since then. And the big thing with me is keeping my stress level down. I have my employer is very good about me working from home, and I find that to be very helpful. The traffic in Atlanta is horrendous, and if I were to go into the office, I'd be in the car for 2 hours a day. So that's very helpful, and I have a very, very, very supportive family. If we have family gatherings a lot, and if I get to a point where I'm too tired, my body will tell me, you've got to stop, and I know when to stop. And my family is very, very good about supporting me. And I think having a good support structure is extremely important with this disease. And yeah, following up with your physicians and trying to follow the disease modifying therapies that are advised, I think definitely is something that I really, really tell a lot of folks, because I do know people that start to feel better and they think, well, maybe I shouldn't give myself this shot every day anymore. I feel good. And, and then it's, you feel good because, you were on this therapy and you don't want to stop because it's helping.
Well, you just talk about right there when you bring that up, you're talking about something that literally is systemic and across the country. It's not just with MS. We in America are the worst when it comes to being compliant to medication. Why? We get our medications a lot of times cheaper than a lot of other countries. So when a doctor in another country prescribes 30 pills and it costs them about $110 a pill, those people guarantee they take every single one of those pills. But that same pill may cost us $25. And for some reason, you walk into anybody's house in America, go in their bathroom and look in their medicine cabinet, they have leftover prescriptions that a doctor had written them. Well, the doctor didn't write it for you to leave it in the bathroom. He wrote it for you to eat it and take it. So crazy when it comes to MS, where I'll talk to people who I know there are certain therapies that are everyday injections. There are certain therapies that are multiple times a week injections. There are certain therapies that are once a week injections. There's other therapies that are, and somebody does exactly what you just said, Andrea. They get to the point that they start to feel better, and then they think that they have cured this illness, and that's not going to happen. Bill, you've been dealing with this in a different way, and see, again, like I say, the disease affects us all differently. I haven't run in now almost 14 years because my brain won't allow my brain won't allow my body to get that in sync. I've been working on this as hard as I can, and I've just lost that ability to coordinate the legs to make it do it. I can get on an elliptical, I can walk on a treadmill, but I can't just run down the street. And you, my friend, are running marathons, and I'm glad you're participating in the MS Run the U.S.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be part of it. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I got you.
Super excited to be part of it. And to your point, yeah, I don't think a lot of people that have MS think they're going to be running for the rest of their life. But luckily, when I was diagnosed 20 years ago, I had a doctor that basically said, you're in great shape, you're active, stay in shape, and don't let it change your life. Unfortunately, in '93, when I was diagnosed, there wasn't a lot of great meds around, so I went without being on meds 7 or 8 years until 2000. I come from a family where we're all crazy competitive, and we always want to be in shape. So, to me, running was just another extension of my being athletic and mobile. So I just kept acting like I didn't have MS. For better or for worse, I just decided I was going to keep doing what I was doing, just like the doctor told me to. And then in 2000, I did have signs that I needed to get looked at. I did start meds, but it was also in the middle when I was training for my first marathon, and I wasn't going to give it up. My brothers and I decided we were going to run a marathon. We did it together, and they were, just like the rest of my family, they've been extremely supportive, just like my wife and my kid. I was when I was diagnosed, I was just a brand new father, so like everybody else, you try and figure out what are you going to do the rest of your life if you can't be active and coach sports and all that good stuff. But luckily, I've just been able to attack it with staying as absolutely fit as I can. And luckily, running's kind of been my outlet. It's my stressor. It's my my way of getting my mind off the fact that I might have MS. When I'm out running, I really don't feel like I have MS. So it's a blessing to me to be able to run, and it's really a blessing to be able to be part of this with that. I'm really looking forward to it. And you'll notice I did take one of the cooler routes up in the mountains just so I can try and stave off some of the heat. So I'm really, really excited to be part of it.
That's a great route. I mean, I'll see if I can get through. I know I'm going to try to come out, Ashley, at least 3 times. I'll try to stop in a couple different cities along the way, and I'll be out there pep rallying, and we'll do another Google Plus Hangout during that time. Now, we've been on for a while. There are probably a lot of people out there wondering, if there was one thing that each one of you could say to someone else who has been tuning in just to see if they could get some extra information. One of the things I really like to leave with is I can give you the pep talk from here to eternity, but I think some solid advice. Let's go down the line. Nick, I'll start with you. Something that you said you were doing, you modified your diet, you're exercising. Is there one particular exercise that you're doing that seems to work better, doesn't heat your body up too fast, but allows you to get the anaerobic training that you need?
Not particular, but for me, snowboarding and getting out doing something you love, the support of your family, and you're not the only one out there with this problem either. I mean, as you see here, there's a bunch of us. We're all going through much of the same things.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, how about you, Andrea? One thing, is there an exercise? Is there something you can spend your time, you're not chasing kids, but following around them, right?
Honestly, keeping stress levels down. I find that that's what affects me the most. And I just try to take some time for myself, whenever I can, whether it's just, catching a couple of hours of just going into a quiet room and reading a book, or, something to just rest. Because I know all of us, from everybody's lifestyle I've seen here, we're probably all going 100 miles an hour every day, all day long. And, when you start to feel bad, listen to your body, take a little rest, recharge, and it's amazing. We'll have a family gathering, and I'll be wiped out. My body will say, sit down, take a load off, don't do any more, get a good night's rest, and good to go the next day. It's amazing. Listen to your body.
That's the best advice, is honestly get as much rest as you possibly can, no matter what you're doing, and also lowering that stress level. Stephanie, you're going to be blogging the devil out of this. I know you'll be talking about the MS Run US, but you're going to continue to blog how you cope every day. Give me that one big tip that you're going to give this afternoon before you send it out to everybody else.
Always remembering that tomorrow's a new day. So if you have a bad day, it's okay. You get to start over again tomorrow, and just maintaining that positive attitude that I always speak about, that life doesn't end with a diagnosis, it begins. So you just figure it out.
Absolutely. And Bill, you know what? One more step. You're going down the hill. That finish line.
That's right.
You saw the finish line. You know it's all the way over that other hill, and it's around that corner. Dude, you're ready to quit. Something says to Bill, don't quit. How do you do it?
Well, you have to realize that what you're given by God, you just got to use it. And if I can run, I know a lot of people, so if I can run, I'm just going to accept that as my way of proving to others that have MS that we can do it.
Absolutely. You know what? Like you said, though, you like to run for those of us who can't. Thanks for running for me, my friend. So I may have to add a couple of pennies to your run. We'll have to figure this out, And Ashley, okay, homie. So you're in training. Are you running the first leg of this marathon?
No, I'm running the 12th.
The 12th leg. Okay. So
yes.
So I definitely have to be where you're running for that one. So I'll be there for that.
That's in Nebraska, so Montel, it's not like the hot spot of America.
Well, you know what? But it's flat. So it's a little bit further north, so it'll be a little cooler. Here's what I'll do. Definitely am coming out for the start. I think, I got to roll through Sin City when you run through there. And then I'll probably meet you somewhere like Nebraska, Chicago. And look, I just added another day because I'll be in New York too.
There you go. And I did want to say something too, because though I don't have MS, I do have a piece of advice for mainly just like the parents. I do get asked often, parents worry about their children. Like if the parent has MS and they have a child and they worry about the child and how they're affected. And as you know, as parents, children are resilient. And what I learned most from my mom is, as she remained positive, it inspired me and helped me to become this individual that I am. So, just remain positive and try and always show your children what your blessings are. And I know that those are values that they'll grow up with, and your MS won't negatively affect them.
Thank you. Well, you know what, guys? This is thanks so much for joining my first Google Hangout. Yay! We got through it. Technicals or whatever, it didn't matter. Over the next couple of months, I'm going to try to do a few more of these. I want to see if for sure we can do a couple of Hangouts while I'm out on the road with Ashley, but I want to talk about a couple other issues. So why don't you text me, email me, send me something, tweet me at Montel_Williams, or you can add me to your circle and message me right on Google+. See, I had to read that part to make sure I got the right thing right. Okay, but you can also find me on Facebook, so let me know. If there's a couple topics you want to talk about, I want to come back and talk to you about some exciting things I'm involved in. I can tell you a little bit about this exciting new experimental project that I'm involved in, just so you understand the research behind it. I can also tell you a little bit about something I'm doing in biology. Come on back.
Thanks, Montel.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, sorry, click.